Alright, so the Eagles just had their second preseason game against the Patriots, and one key defender made a statement, as after being criticized and doubted during camp, it seems like he's ready to prove people wrong and dominate for the Birds defense this season. Speaking of which, several other Eagles defenders really stuck out as well. Meanwhile, the Eagles have pretty much confirmed who the starting right guard will be, while Tyler Steen was carted off with a somewhat scary injury, plus Tanner McKee was lights out again as he continues to make a case to be the quarterback number 2. But is there actually a competition going on for that spot? Let's talk about all that and everything else from the Eagles' exciting preseason win over the Patriots. And we won't waste any time, let's get straight into it. So in contrast to last week, we found out early on ahead of the game whether the offensive starters were going to play or not, as they didn't even suit up or go through pregame warmups. So once again, the Eagles just opted not to put the starting offense out there in the preseason, and Nick Sirianni actually explained why they decided not to play those guys in his post-game press conference.
You know, we had 89 plays against New England. It was a long practice. It was a physical practice. We had some good one-on-one reps also. And I felt like we 2 days, when you play 2 days beforehand, like when you practice on Friday, let's take us to a season. You practice on Friday, then you play on Sunday, right? That Friday practice is, short, fast, when you have that long of a practice, which is more like a Wednesday, really even a longer Wednesday practice, in a really physical practice like it was, that's not enough rest, in my opinion, to put those guys back out there.
So this is really no surprise. I mean, Sirianni has been adamant in the past that he values those joint practices as actual game-like scenarios, and those reps during those practices are game-like reps for the starting offense. And he also mentioned there that he just thought the turnaround was too quick with Tuesday being such a grueling and physical practice, and he didn't want to put them back out there for another game scenario just 2 days later. So I mean, I get it, because as much as it would have been nice to see the offense for a series or two just to see how they look and for them to get a few reps before the start of the regular season, preseason games just don't matter at the end of the day, and the most important thing is really just keeping everyone healthy for the start of the regular season. Now, Sirianni didn't rule out them playing next week, so I guess we'll see on that front. I mean, I wouldn't expect them to play, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see to know for sure. Now, one thing it does seem like we know for sure at this point is who is going to be the starting right guard, as after weeks of people speculating and the two guys battling it out, it seems like Mekhi Becton has earned that job, as after weeks of getting first team reps at right guard during camp, Becton didn't suit up for Thursday's preseason game along with the rest of the starting offense, while Tyler Steen got the start at right guard. So you would think that that's a pretty clear indicator that Becton pretty much has the starting job all wrapped up. Now, Nick Sirianni was asked to confirm whether Becton is the starter or not after the game, and this is what he said.
Yeah, we still have some time to think through some things, and we're going to have some really good physical practices next week, almost some operational things, some different things like that, and we'll see. No reason to say anything one way or the other right now because we're still working through it, and we'll see.
So that was honestly just a whole lot of nothing and some coach speak from Sirianni there, as he just still wouldn't give us a clear answer and basically tried to act like they're still going through the process of deciding and letting guys battle it out. But actions speak louder than words, as they say, and all actions point to Becton being the starter, with him not even suiting up for Thursday's preseason game being the cherry on top. Plus, I think after what happened to Tyler Steen during the game, it's pretty clear that his chances of starting, at least to begin the season, are over. As unfortunately, Steen suffered a somewhat scary injury or potentially re-aggravated his existing one from earlier in camp during the game against the Patriots, as he went down after just 12 plays on offense before he walked off the field into a medical tent, and then he was actually carted off from there inside of the x-ray room. And Steen didn't return for the rest of the game, so this definitely really sucks for the second-year Alabama offensive lineman, as he was considered the favorite to start at right guard for pretty much the entire offseason before training camp began, but injuries really just killed any chance that he had of earning that job. And while I personally am really excited about Becton, I also think that Steen could eventually become a good player, so hopefully this injury isn't too serious and he can come back soon and just continue to get better. And who knows, maybe one day he will eventually become a starter for this Eagles offensive line. And staying on the topic of injuries, the Eagles did have a few more unfortunate ones happen recently, both in this game and prior to it, as the training camp star wide receiver Johnny Wilson didn't suit up on Thursday as he was put in concussion protocol after Tuesday's joint practice versus the Patriots, and then during the game, another receiver was put in concussion protocol in the former first-round pick John Ross. And to add on to the injuries on offense, tight end E.J. Jenkins went down with what looked to be either an ankle or knee injury late in the game, which really sucked because Jenkins had a great day as he caught all 5 of his targets for 47 yards, and that included an awesome one-handed snag. So hopefully this injury isn't too serious because it seems like Jenkins could actually potentially have a legit shot at winning the 3rd tight end job if he continues to play well. And Jenkins wasn't the only offensive guy who performed well during the game, as wide receiver Joseph Ngata had a really great game actually, putting up 5 catches for 88 yards, and he made some really good catches and physical plays, and he got his starting teammates fired up. And then rookie running back Will Shipley was also pretty impressive once again, as he had 9 total touches both in the running and receiving game, and he had a few impressive moments. But probably the most impressive guy for the offense was quarterback Tanner McKee, as he balled out, completing 15 of his 19 pass attempts for 140 yards, while he also didn't turn the ball over. Plus, he led a clutch drive late in the game with the Eagles down 13-6, as he led the offense 70 yards down the field in the 4th quarter, making some really impressive throws and plays along the way, and it was eventually capped off with a 1-yard touchdown run by Kendall Milton. And then the Eagles made a decision to try and take the lead by going for 2, and it paid off as McKee delivered a great pass to rookie receiver Ainias Smith for the conversion. So shout out to Ainias for making this play after his struggles in camp, and also massive shout out to Tanner McKee as he was surgical against the Patriots defense. And he also continues to kind of make a case to be the backup quarterback over Kenny Pickett, as McKee outshined Pickett in this game, and he has also taken some second team reps away from Pickett during training camp so far. However, Nick Sirianni made it clear that while McKee has been great, there is still no current competition for the backup QB job.
Kenny, you saw where they went in today. Kenny's our number 2, Tanner's our number 3, and I'm really happy that those guys are both on the roster.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not quite sure I understand this. Like, I get that the Eagles initially brought Pickett in to be the backup quarterback, and maybe behind closed doors, they really like what they've seen from him, but reports are also saying that Tanner McKee is really having a good camp as well, and he's also looked really good in the preseason. And in Thursday's game specifically, I mean, he was just phenomenal, so I'm not quite sure what else he has to do to at least make it a competition. I mean, I think he's at least earned that, but what do you guys think? At this current moment, would you rather have Kenny Pickett or Tanner McKee as the backup quarterback? But now moving on, it wasn't just Tanner McKee or those other offensive guys I mentioned that impressed, as it was really the defense that showed out in this game, with multiple players having great performances, and one key defender in particular really made a statement. So we're going to get into all that in just a minute, but real quick, I do want to say, if you are enjoying this video and don't want to miss any other Eagles preseason training camp or regular season coverage coming in the future, then make sure you subscribe, and also really importantly, turn on notifications so you're notified instantly when one of these videos is uploaded. I'd say that's a win-win for the both of us, because not only do I get more people consistently watching these videos, but you don't miss any other Eagles content or coverage just like this. So again, subscribe and turn on notifications, and also drop a like down below. Let's see if we can hit 800 likes on today's video. Now with all that being said, let's get back into the video. So as opposed to the offense, the defense did actually have a lot of their starters suit up on Thursday, and a few of those guys shined, with one of them being the linebacker Zack Baun, as he put his physicality and toughness on display on several occasions, particularly on one play where he stopped the Pats ball carrier right at the line of scrimmage. And then the slot corner / safety Avonte Maddox made a fantastic play as he stepped in front of a Jacoby Brissett pass to Austin Hooper in the end zone to get an interception, and Maddox ran it back for what ended up being a very big return. So it was certainly a great play by Maddox to undercut the throw and prevent the Pats from scoring, and it should remind everybody that Maddox still very much has the capability to be a good player and a contributor for this defense this year. But even with the flashy play from Maddox, the starter that stuck out the most to me was edge rusher Bryce Huff, and a lot of that is due to the criticism that Huff has gotten recently, as he got off to what many deemed a kind of slow start in training camp, but he's really started to turn things around lately, as during the joint practice against the Patriots on Tuesday, he was great, as he had a sack, and it was also noted by reporters that he made some really good plays against the run as well, and that continued into Thursday's preseason game, as in very limited playing time, Huff made his presence felt, and that started on the very first defensive snap of the game, as Huff made a great stop against the run for just a short gain, and then the very next play, Huff diagnosed a screen pass and ran over to make the tackle on that as well. And overall, he ended up tied with the second most tackles on the team with 3, again in just a very small amount of playing time. So you love to see Huff just coming into his own, because he's going to be crucial for the success of this Eagles defense this year, with him being Hassan Reddick's replacement and all that. And personally, I mean, I was never really too worried about Huff, but now after this game and the week of practice that he's had, it just makes me even more confident that he's ready to come out and have a great season. But Huff isn't the last of the defensive players that I want to mention, as Nolan Smith also had a great play, getting a sack in the second half where he stuck with the play and eventually defeated his block to drop the QB. And then some other linebackers looked good as well, as Jeremiah Trotter Jr. had another good performance, and Nakobe Dean really looked fantastic as he led the team in tackles with 5, and that included a couple really impressive ones, like this one where he got great pressure on the QB and then didn't quit on the play and hustled to go make the tackle. And then this strong tackle in space where Dean threw the ball carrier to the ground after he caught a screen pass. And overall, it was just awesome to see Nakobe shining and making plays like this, as he's had to deal with a lot of criticism this offseason too, but he hasn't let that affect him, as he's been making plays in practice and in the preseason lately. And he's also earned some much deserved praise from some reporters recently, so Nakobe's stock is definitely up right now. And also, shout out to one other Eagles linebacker in Brandon Smith for hustling and recovering this bad snap to seal the victory for the Eagles in another very tight game. And overall, I mean, it was just awesome to see the Eagles find a way to win again in the preseason with multiple great performances throughout on both sides of the ball. But it's not over, as the Eagles have their third and final preseason game at home this time versus the Vikings this week, and I'm going to be covering everything from that as well as everything from the rest of the Eagles training camp, and of course once the regular season begins as well. So again, make sure you guys subscribe and really importantly turn on notifications, and also while you're at it, again, make sure you drop a like. Let's see if we can hit 800 likes on today's video. And also, if you want to help the channel out even more, make sure you leave a comment down below just regarding anything else that I talked about in this video. What did you think of the Eagles' second preseason game against the Patriots? And also, if you want to watch another Eagles video going over some other camp news, you can check this out right here. Now, with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.